guys, please do mind the noise from outside, like the people that are outside and the cars, because where I am. Hi guys, I'm Nela Talks, aka Nela Talks, and I hope that you guys are good because I'm good too. So as you guys can see by the title of the videos, it is another episode of Nela Talks, and I know it's been a long ass time since I've been in this segment, and like I promised you guys, I told you guys that the second episode was going to be on imposter syndrome. So throughout this entire time that I've been gone, I've actually been compiling research and trying to understand imposter syndrome even more. But before we get into it, if you are a new subscriber, welcome to my beautiful haven, and I hope that you guys do enjoy your stay here. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. We are in it, period. So yeah guys, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and most importantly subscribe. I'll even wait, just click that. And yeah, this is episode 2 of Nela Talks, and we are going to be briefly dissecting what imposter syndrome is. And without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. So as you guys can see, I have got notes because I don't like sit down videos that are unprepared. And if you watched my last week's upload, which was my life update, it was very unprepared. Not which I wanted to be prepared, but it was very unprepared, and it's something that I'm not really used to. So most of the time my sit down videos, I plan them out and then I have a piece of paper or something where I can just write down my brief notes so that I don't forget my trail of thoughts and I don't ramble a lot. So yeah. I don't like oros, but when it's cold, it bangs. It bangs, I'm telling you. So guys, imposter syndrome. Where do you start with this? Let's try and dissect the word imposter and syndrome. So imposter, if you don't know what it means, it's basically someone trying to be like someone else. So let me use an example of maybe a celeb, like me trying to be like Bonang or Beyonce or a big YouTuber or whatever you can think about. Like if I start now living my life exactly like them, or I start talking like them, eating like them, thinking like them, all of those things, that's me basically being an imposter. And even worse part, I can go and tell the world or society or normal people around my community that, oh no, my name is Beyonce, or my name is Bonang Matera, or my name is a YouTuber, big YouTuber that I don't know. That's what an imposter basically is. It's someone who's trying to be like somebody else, not necessarily someone famous, but being like somebody else. What is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is basically what's the word? It's a psychological state of mind where you feel like you are living a life of fraud, you are living a life that is not truly you, you are who you not truly are. What am I saying? You are who you not are. Yeah. It's you living a life, or you being in a state of mind where you're not truly who you are, or you are acting in a way that is not within your morals and values, and you don't really, what's the word? You don't acknowledge your achievements. Yes, you don't acknowledge your achievements. You see yourself as a fraud, you see yourself as a fake, you see yourself as if you're not really who you are. So yeah, just to break it down, it's basically being in a state of mind or living a life where you're not truly who you are. But that don't mean that you're really a fake, okay? It's a state of mind. Just take into account state of mind or living a life that is not truly who you are. So yeah. And then the causes of imposter syndrome, there's actually quite a lot, but okay, I don't want to say quite a lot because I'm also not a doctor. Oh yes, before I continue, I'm not a doctor, I am not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a counselor, I'm not any sort of occupation in the health department. I am just me, Nelafied, a YouTuber slash content creator slash model slash extraordinaire, darling. Okay, so this is just brief information on what I've researched and also my understanding of a certain concept I talk about, of which is imposter syndrome, in this episode. So don't come at me if I get some of my things wrong, but this is just my understanding. So yeah, and if you guys do know knowledge or something that I don't know about imposter syndrome, do comment down below and let's just share ideas and learn from each other. Causes of imposter syndrome, there is quite a number of causes, like for many other things, especially when it comes to mental health. So with imposter syndrome, I've broken it down into like 4 categories, which are family, trauma, environment, and your mental health in overall. So these are the primary causes of imposter syndrome that I've grasped out of all the research that I've collected and I've read and I've watched on. So with family, imposter syndrome can be caused via family in terms of its structure and how you guys communicate in the household and how you were raised and how you act when you're at home compared to how you act when you are outside with your friends or your peers or at school. So yeah, family is a really big factor in imposter syndrome. So if you know or you feel that you do have imposter syndrome, don't just eliminate family, because you know that thing of, oh man, you can't turn your back on family, you can't betray family, things like that. Not you can't, but family, just because you guys are blood related doesn't mean everything is gonna be perfect. So as a person, when such things like imposter syndrome happens, family needs to be taken into account as a part of those factors that contribute to it. Okay. Trauma is a very huge factor in this, because what a person goes through, they may not know how to deal with it. They may not know how to acknowledge what they're going through. They may not know who to even reach out to. And then they start going into a cycle or a spiral of actions and thoughts and a way of life that is not truly who they are, and that does not align with the morals and values. And more so, they find escapes to what they've gone through. And then once they start growing up with more experience, they start realizing, oh shit, this is not who I am. And I feel like what I'm doing is not me, or it's not for me. So yeah, that's how trauma falls into one of the causes of imposter syndrome. And one thing that I want to note to you guys is that when trauma happens, it happens to everybody. Nobody in this earth lives a life that is perfect, without problems, without issues, without struggles. Everybody has their own struggle, but you do choose what you want to fight, you do choose how many things you want to fight, and you do choose what you want to deal with, because we have choices and we have options in this life. Okay, so with trauma, you need to, I'm not saying even when you're like young, beginning, like you're gonna know what you're going through, but when you go through traumatic experiences, when you get to a certain age or when you reach a certain phase or stage in your life, you need to sit down with yourself, only one, and self-introspect on what has happened, understand and accept the trauma that has happened to you, and then try and find ways on how you're going to deal with it. Because if not, you are going to fall into, I don't want to say trap, but you're going to fall into the trap of imposter syndrome, and it's not really a nice feeling. And then the next cause is environment. With environment, this one will interlink to the last cause, which is mental health. And with environment, it's not just, sorry about that, it's not just your household. Okay, it's not just your household, it's your neighborhood, it's the community you live in, it's the area you live in, it's school, it's places where you are frequently at. Probably if you always go to the mall with your family every weekend, that could also be an environment that you are putting yourself in. School is a daily thing from Monday to Friday, and then if you get to varsity, it depends on your classes. Like things like that, your friends' places, that's that's environment. And environment has a very strong influence on a person, in which in turn rather affects a person's mental health, either in a good way or in a bad way or in a neutral way. So as a person, you need to take into account with how your environment affects you, and how your environment also influences you, and how your environment also becomes a factor in your mental health. And then furthermore, like underlines, if I could say that, for lack of a better word, underlines other mental issues that may come about as you grow up. So your environment, let's use the simple one, your home area, your neighborhood. Your neighborhood can become a factor, or let me say, your neighborhood is a factor in imposter syndrome, because the people that you interact with, the things that you are surrounded by, the things that are happening and occurring in your environment do influence you, and they do influence you in a strong way, whether they directly or indirectly affect you. And when certain things are not for you, or don't align with your values, or don't align with who you are, they kind of mess up a routine or some sort of balance in your life, and then that becomes a bigger issue, especially if you're not dealing with it or you're not aware of it. It becomes a bigger issue. An example of you could be living in a kasi, okay, and I'm not nyanzaring or I'm not being disapproving to certain areas. No, I'm just being realistic, especially with how our country is, or how the world is. There are certain kasis, or let me say townships, or ilogishi, where kids grow up from a very, very young age. They see groups of people who are smoking every day near their neighborhood, people who sell drugs, people who are always drinking. Nasekaya, there's so many family members who constantly feel the need to drink, or constantly feel the need to smoke, or find escapes, of which are not a good example that you're setting as an adult. But these things happen, guys. This is reality. But as I've listed now, those things, the more they are shown, and the more they are practiced, and the more they are done, especially in front of a young person as they are growing up, that person now starts visualizing and conforming to, oh, that's how life is. Oh, it's not so bad to smoke. Oh, it's not so bad to drink every day, and so on and so on and so on. And then that becomes such a bad influence and a bad impact on the youth especially. And then you find the same youth that when they've grown up, or in the university, or they go through also their own personal individual traumatic experiences, they start seeing things that are messing up with their lives. And some of them don't know how to deal with it, some of them do, and it's a good thing, and it's really paramount important for you to be conscious and self-aware of what's happening in your life and why it is happening. So yeah, environment is really, really a strong factor, of which we also need to take into account for. And yeah, the last one is mental health. Your mental health can also be a factor to imposter syndrome in specific, because a person can go through mental health issues that they were born with, or mental issues that were caused by traumatic experiences, like the common one, depression, anxiety, and then those ones that you are born with, like Down's syndrome. And then the more, how can I say this phrase? But you know what, let me just say, the more shit you go through, the more shit you go through in life, and you don't know how to deal with it, it's gonna cause more problems. And when you're already going through mental issues and you're not aware, it causes more issues, and then imposter syndrome now comes about. Or probably you have anxiety, or you have depression, or what's that other one? What's that other mental health issue? The PTSD or ADHD, things like that, and you're not aware of what's going on, or you're not aware of that certain mental issue. The more you're not dealing with it, other problems arise, and then you start feeling shitty about yourself, you start looking down on life, you start being worthless. You start feeling worthless. You start feeling like there's no point in this life thing. It's sad how there's so many mental issues that people are not aware of, and just me sitting here talking about imposter syndrome, it's something that I've been going through, and it's something that I was also trying to understand more, especially when I was going through my therapy sessions before they ended. I think it was the beginning of this year when I started my first therapy session this year. My therapist was asking me obviously how I am, how I'm dealing with things, how my festive was. And then the more I was opening up to her and telling her the things that I was going through, she mentioned that I should take note that I will be going through a stage of imposter syndrome, or a phase of imposter syndrome, where I won't feel like I am truly who I am, or I'm going to feel like my achievements equal to like nothing, or I'm gonna try and make things so perfect, because I did mention also some of my struggles on wanting everything to be perfect, wanting everything to be linear, wanting everything to be straightforward, when life is not perfect as it is. So yeah, she mentioned that, and a week wouldn't literally pass by without me thinking of imposter syndrome, and how it just comes about, and what causes it, and how a person can deal with it, and what kind of an imposter am I. And that takes me to my next point of the types of imposter syndrome personalities. So with imposter syndrome, as I've mentioned before, that it is like a state of mind where you're not truly yourself, or you're living a life where you are not who you are, or your life does not, the way you act in life does not align with your values and morals, and a lot of things will differ. A lot of actions will differ from person to person, and a lot of outcomes in traumatic experiences or mental health issues will differ from person to person. And with imposter syndrome, there are personalities where a person is acting the way not who they are, but obviously in a certain characteristic. So the ones that I saw when I was doing my research was the top 5, which are perfectionism, natural genius, rugged individualist, expert, and superhero. And in my first episode, if you had watched it, I did mention that I am or was going through the perfectionism imposter syndrome, where I want everything to be perfect, everything needs to be straight okay. When I make a mistake, I am very hard on myself, that I don't celebrate my achievements. I don't acknowledge even the little achievements that I've achieved. Laying happy. I feel like life shouldn't have mistakes, all of that. That's what the perfectionist imposter is. The one that feels like they don't make mistakes. The one, not feels like they don't make mistakes. The one when they make mistakes, they so hard on themselves, they beat themselves up. The one who doesn't celebrate their achievements when they get achievements, or they achieve something in their life, whether it's big or small. So yeah, that is the perfectionist one. And then natural genius imposter is that imposter where they've always gotten the straight A's at school, they've always passed, and then when they grow up and they're still suffering from imposter syndrome, they feel like they need to work extra hard or 10 times as hard to be the way they are when they were in high school or when they were in primary or when they were achieving those straight A's, you know. So that is the natural genius imposter. And then the rugged individualist. This one I really didn't understand a lot, but this one, as you can hear by the word rugged, it's someone who prefers not to ask for help. They feel that they can achieve everything that they need or want alone. They don't bother themselves with asking for help from someone or trying to understand things from a different perspective, of which is quite effed up. Because in life you did come alone and you're gonna leave alone, but doesn't mean that now you should live a life as if you're an island. No man is an island, and that includes women too. I low-key do struggle a bit also with asking for help. I do, but I'm the type of person where I just prefer doing things myself, because I know that if I were to ask for help from somebody else, that person wouldn't be able to help me the way that I want them to. Or maybe I have some sort of disorder or some sort of effed up mentality where I have high expectations or high standards when it comes to certain things. So yeah, the rugged individualist is someone who just is a renegade. And when they are renegades, some things don't work out when they actually need you to work in a collaborative form, and you are out here wanting to work alone, and it doesn't work like that. In most cases, it really doesn't work like that. So that is the rugged individualist. And then the expert is that imposter that thinks that they're right. They think that they know everything. They think that they're the shizzle man nizzle, and in all honesty, they're really not. And me speaking like this about these type of personalities, especially in the tone that I'm using, no, I'm not bashing people who go through these things, because I am also going through some of these things, or I have gone through these things and now I'm understanding them more. No, I'm not bashing you just because I'm talking the way I am, but I don't want this to be a very serious, deep, overwhelming topic. Like, I want it to be light, and I also want you guys to understand it from my perspective, and also just hear it in a light manner, because life shouldn't be taken so seriously in all aspects. But there are serious things in life where you need to be serious, but doesn't mean everything and how you approach it needs to be all serious. So that is why I'm just so light, and like I'm speaking in the tone that I'm speaking in. So yeah, the expert is that one that thinks they know everything and they really don't. And when an imposter of the expert goes through motions of maybe they don't know a certain thing, or they don't know a certain concept, or they don't know how to do something specific, they find themselves very hard on themselves. They find themselves very down, very sad. They feel worthless. They feel small. So that is the expert imposter. And then the last one is the superhero, of which is the one who feels like they can conquer the world. And when I mean conquer the world, I mean like helping out people, like conquering the world as in being the boss, like the hero, the Spider-Man, the Batman, Sunny, the Superman. That is the superhero. They've lived their life where they've always helped people, and they've always been there for people, and they've always succeeded in a lot of aspects in their life. And then when one aspect in their life is not going really well, they work so hard. They put all their focus in that aspect that's not going right, so that it balances out with all the other aspects that are going really well. And hey, yo guys, it's bad. It's bad, like I don't even know how to say it. And not just to the superhero one, but to all of them. And just before I close with the superhero one, like it's really bad to find yourself in a situation where now you're living a life where you just constantly gymming and you're constantly like grinding and fighting yourself just to get every aspect of your life to the peak that it has to be, to a level of I don't know, you know, man, a high pedestal where everything in life has to be top. And it's not like that. Life is up and down. Life is imperfect. Life is a roller coaster. Life is a wild ride, and all you have to do is accept, number one, that life is like that, and then number two, learn to manage and find simple daily practices and ways on how to overcome the issues that we go through, or the patterns that we are constantly repeating, or the behaviors that are not for us or are not aligning with who we are, you know. So yeah, with the superhero one, it does kind of hit home a bit, because you know, when you live a life, or you're the type of person naturally where you always feel like you've conquered 1, 2, 3 in your life, and then the minute something goes wrong, you're like, flip, now I have to put in twice as much work into that so that it balances out with everything else that is just, you know, aligned. And it really not disconnects, disbalances in what am I saying, child? It ruins the balance of things, and trying to manage your life in the way you are, or in an appropriate manner, because now you being so hard on yourself, you don't acknowledge the good things in your life, you always focused on the negative. You constantly question yourself, you question your thoughts, your actions, you even question how you interact with people, you doubt yourself, you know, you ask yourself why certain people are in your life, or why certain things are happening in your life. And even in the name of trying to understand it all, you ask yourself in such a subjective manner where in actual fact it's hurting you. So I just wanna say that life is hard as it is. A lot of things in life are hard as it is, and the least that we can do for ourselves as individuals is just to be kind to each other, and kind to ourselves firstly, before being kind to each other, kind to ourselves, and not bash ourselves down, and be soft. Treat ourselves soft. Treat ourselves like marshmallows. Treat ourselves like we are a golden egg that was hidden for centuries, and when we find it, we still don't want to like crack that egg. Like, why would you want to crack a golden egg? You just want to find the perfect pedestal and just put it there and show it off to the world. That's how we should be treating ourselves. First of all, as individuals, like, treat yourself like a golden egg, like a marshmallow, sweet marshmallow, and put yourself on the highest pedestal and show yourself off to the world. You won't even have to show yourself off, because God will show you off. Once you show up, and when you show up, that's you putting yourself on that high pedestal as that golden egg that you are. God will show off, or your higher power will show off, or the universe will show off. It's time that we talk to ourselves nice. It's time that we treat ourselves nice. It's time that we are more kinder to ourselves all the time. This thing that we even sit in our thoughts, when we sad or down and out, we talk to ourselves nice. So oh my God, you're such an idiot, Nela. Oh my gosh, like, how could you be so stupid? Oh my gosh, you did this wrong, now you have to fix it. Everything is just so criticizing. Everything is so judgmental. Everything is just so negative. I don't like that. I used to be like that, and I'm still unlearning that completely, because I want to find myself in a position where now I'm relapsing and going back to the thoughts where now I'm slapping and punching myself in my mind because I did one silly mistake, and it's not like I was not gonna learn from it. No, like, it's time. Even if I do a mistake, it's like, man, relax. It's okay. It happened. You now have learned from it. This is how you're gonna learn from it. And then life goes on. Not, oh my word, you're so dumb. Oh my gosh, you're so stupid. Oh my word, you don't appreciate it. Oh no. Even like the minute you start working on yourself like that, you are not gonna take the BS that you get from people or you get from the world. Because when you're in a state, especially this imposter syndrome, when you haven't dealt with a lot of things in your life, a lot of people are gonna talk. Obviously, they're gonna judge and criticize you. You're gonna get people call you stupid, they call you dumb, they call you all sorts of names, or they always judging things that they not conform to, or things that they don't find appropriate. And then you are gonna start acting in a way, because you're gonna start acting in a way that they want you to act because of the things that they have said to you. It is really not nice living a life or being a doormat just because people are criticizing how you are or how you act or who you are. Not even how, who you are, you know. That's why you also just need to learn to like distance yourself from negative energies like that, or places like that, and people like that, because it's just gonna really hold you back. It's really gonna hold you back as a person, or you're going to find yourself in a position where now you have to work 2 times just so that you can battle with yourself and try and also block out everything else that is external. So guys, and not just to people who are going through imposter syndrome, everyone who's going through a mental health issue, be kind to yourself, be soft to yourself, speak to yourself nice, do nice things for yourself. Rest if you have to rest, recharge yourself if you have to recharge. You can't be working and speaking or thinking or doing things and then you're sitting on 2% life battery. What's that? If you have to rest, you have to rest. And even if you have to rest and you have an assignment due tomorrow, rest. It's fine. Things happen, life happens, okay? It's not the end of the world. So yeah. And then oh guys, my throat. Yes, I'm filming today. It's a Friday and I was supposed to film on Wednesday, but my throat was just going through the most. I'm going. So yeah, it's much better now and I'm preparing myself for weekend. But I feel like when this is already up, the weekend is gonna be over or something of that so bad. Yeah. The last the last section of this is ways to overcome imposter syndrome. So I'm just gonna name them briefly, and if I feel a need where I have to now elaborate, I'm gonna elaborate. The first one is learn the facts. And when I say learn the facts of imposter syndrome. Understand what you're going through, understand the concept that you're going through, understand why you are going through it, and understand the causes of it, so that you can know where certain things stem from, so that you know where they are rooted, so that you can start fixing the problem from the root, going up, not from up going down. Now you're going backwards for nothing, for nada. So yeah, learn the facts, and that will allow you to become more conscious and more self-aware. So yeah, share your feelings, and share your feelings. Like, don't just speak to someone you trust, or speak to people that you trust. Or if you feel like you don't trust people, really guys, go to therapy. I know it's a stranger, it's someone you don't know, but they are professionals, so they wouldn't take whatever you're telling them in office or in therapy sessions to the outside world. It's confidential. So if you don't want to speak to people that you know, or your loved ones, or your close friends, speak to a therapist. And if you can't do any of the options that I've just named now, write down your feelings. Pick up a camera. I'm not saying be a YouTuber. Pick up a camera and just record yourself. If you cry during that video, cry. If you're gonna laugh, laugh. If you're gonna scream, scream. Share your feelings. I don't know what way, but obviously a healthy way. If not your close friends and family, a therapist. If not a therapist, pen and paper. If not pen and paper, use your camera. You don't have to post it. Just share your feelings to your camera to say, this is how I'm feeling. And when you share your feelings, it's you taking out what's in your chest and being aware of what's going on and now understanding and hearing yourself. Oh, I feel like this because of 1, 2, and 3. I don't know how I got here, or I know how you got here, and this is where it stems from. What. And when things are taken out of your chest, it gives your body such a light feeling after that. To say, I finally spoke. You understand? Not now bottling things up, and then when something negative comes, or a negative person comes, or a negative thing is said to you, it's like a Mentos, and it's being put in your Coke bottle, of which you are the Coke bottle. And then once it's put in the Coke bottle, you there bursting. And in most cases, you're bursting in the wrong crowd at the wrong time, at the wrong place, for the wrong reasons. So share your feelings, guys. It does get hard, and you don't have to share everything. Bit by bit, share what you want to share. You know? Even if it takes time, it's fine. As long as you are doing it and you are learning to do it consistently, or you just practicing, it's helpful. It's you progressing into something better than the state that you're probably in, especially if you're not liking the state that you're in. And then the next one is celebrate your successes. Small or not, celebrate your successes, guys, because life is not always about the monetary things. Life is not always about the materialistic things. Life is not always about the big things, not in a bad way or form, but not everybody gets the biggest things or those large, full of life type of vibes, you know. But you create your own life, and you envision your own future, and your thoughts are the ones that are going to manifest into the life that you want. So celebrate your successes, even if it's just progress, like little things like, I haven't cried in a week, or you know, you haven't heard anything negative, or you've made a new friend, or you're now starting to share your feelings, even if it's just that one tiny thing, not that deep thing that is so hard to take out. No, like every small thing, celebrate it, no matter how small it is, no matter what someone thinks. Don't care a damn. If someone says, "Oh, why are you celebrating that? What for?" Tell them, because I can, and because I deserve it. Period. Cultivate self-compassion. Cultivate self-compassion, and this goes back to me saying, love yourself, speak to yourself kind, treat yourself like a golden egg, put yourself on a high pedestal, okay? And when you self-compassionate about yourself, it just makes you spreading that compassion, yeah, and makes spreading your self-compassion to the world naturally, and it attracts also other compassionate people, and people who are kind, and people who are soft, and people who have a great energy, and people who want to be in your life for the right reasons, and they act right around you, and they act right also for themselves, you understand? So be self-compassionate with yourself, and every nice thing will follow after that. So yeah, guys, the next point is sharing your failures, and this one goes hand in hand with sharing your feelings. And when I mean sharing your failures, I mean sharing them in an appropriate way. So don't now tell everyone how you failed or trying to discourage people. No, like, if you can't talk to your friends and family about it, go to therapy. If you can't go to therapy, get a pen and a paper. And if you can't get a pen and a paper, or you don't like writing, there's a camera. Or just look at yourself in the mirror and talk to yourself and tell yourself the failures you went through and how you overcome those failures. Because now, after you fail, you start winning. When you acknowledge and you understand why you went through certain things and why you had to fail at certain things, you start winning after that. So yeah, sharing your failures makes you more self-conscious, and it makes you self-aware, and it makes you understand why you had to go through certain things. It makes you understand why you're at a certain point in your life, or how something happened, not even why, how something happened. So yeah, and before I get to my last point, these things are very interlinked as I've listed them. As I've let me start over. As I've listed them, it doesn't mean that you gonna go through overcoming imposter syndrome the way that I've listed them. Like you're gonna learn your facts and then share your feelings after that and then celebrate your successes. No. They all interlink, they gel together. So you might find yourself at some point where you are learning the facts constantly. And when you learn your facts, you now start sharing your failures, and then you sharing your failures goes back to celebrating your successes, and then you start failing again, and then you learning more facts about why you had to fail on that particular thing that you went through, and then you start sharing your feelings, and then you celebrate your successes again and again and again. You understand? So everything is interlinked, and you just need to find a balance in how to work around them and how to understand why certain things are happening, and just knowing why you're doing something. And when I mean knowing why you're doing something, not just your actions, but in terms of just the healing process. And that takes me to my last point, which is acceptance. And acceptance in terms of not just imposter syndrome, but also mental health. Guys, acceptance is one of the most important things, because this life thing is hard, okay? It's complicated, it's complex as hell. So accepting things just makes an experience more worthwhile. It makes an experience more smoother and easier, even when things don't seem so easy. You see, like an example, exams. You're a learner, you're at school, you're overwhelmed by exams. The minute you start accepting Guti, you are in school and you have to write exams because of 1, 2, and 3. It will make your exam period so much easier, because you understand why you have to go through that thing. You understand where it stems from. You understand the success that is gonna come out of once you're done with those exams, you know? So accepting things in life makes it much easier for you to go through that healing process that you need to, or managing life, or just experience. Accepting something makes the experience much easier. So yeah, guys, it's also one of the lessons that I am really trying. I am constantly trying to accept a lot of things and understand, not just accept just for the sake of accepting, but like accepting things but with understanding. Because now if you accept things just because, then you're not living the life that you want, or you are not acting the way you're supposed to be. You are being an imposter, or you are making imposter decisions. So accept, but accept with understanding, so that everything that follows is much easier, it's much smoother, it's more understanding, and it's much worthwhile than just wasting your time and doing things in shame. No, you are not alive in shame. You are alive because of a certain reason and a certain purpose. So yeah, with that said, I hope that all of this information that I've given you guys has helped you, and I hope that you guys did enjoy this episode and understood more about child. You see, outros and intros are not my forte, so let me start that. Anyway, guys, I hope that you guys did enjoy this video and all the information that I've given to you guys, and I hope that you guys now have more understanding on imposter syndrome. And if there's something that I've missed out or have not mentioned or I don't know of concerning imposter syndrome, do comment down below on that knowledge that you have, so that we can learn from each other, and I can also share it to other people in my life, and you can also share this video to people in your life. And with that said, please do like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you are an OG, if you are a nullified rainbow darlings. Please hit that notification bell so that you guys can get notified every time I post a video, because from now on we are pushing, from now on we are consistent, from now on we are working, creating content and putting it out to the world and documenting things that we go through, because I wouldn't be sitting here talking about imposter syndrome if I was not going through it, or if I did not hear about it and maybe it just caught my curiosity. So yeah, guys. Oh, and another thing is, you see, with these serious sit down talks, I really love presenting. I love talking. I love speaking about certain topics and just engaging on certain aspects of life that I understand or I know of. So yeah, please do comment down below your suggestions on where I can improve with my presenting skills, darlings. And yeah, I will reconsider them. I will consider them and take them into account. And maybe when the third episode comes out, it will be better than the last, or better than this one. So yeah, guys. And with that said, guys, it's all love and care and blessings and Nela Talks sprinkles. I will see you guys in my next upload. Bye.